Have y'all ever heard of this book? This is called Memoirs of a Spy by Adolf Abe Hart. Now, he was someone who failed to get into the police department, so the government used him as a black man to spy on black organizations. One of those organizations being the one led by Mr. William Epton, whom I've been doing a series on, and he speaks largely of him in this book. Mr. Epton's organization was the Progressive Labor Movement. He was openly communist, openly socialist, openly anti-government, openly anti-police, openly anti-everything, which of course made him a target. And there was a speech of his that I had been looking for and could not find, and it is in this book. So I'm about to read it to you now. Feel free to read along. I did my best to try to get them up there so you can see it, right? So hopefully you can read along. We will begin a campaign to organize a mass demonstration against the cops somewhere in this city, and we're not saying it's going to be a peaceful demonstration. I see a couple of stooges in the audience. A couple of them came up to see me at my headquarters one day, but I'll tell you about that some other time. I see them in the audience. The cops have declared war on the people of Harlem, and we should declare war on them. And every time they kill one of us, damn it, we'll kill one of them. And we should start thinking that way right now. I'm a blood brother, and I don't use that as a dirty name. The corrupt 32nd Police Precinct, there ain't one cop that ever told the truth in his damn life. They are all gangsters and crooks and thieves and murderers, even their own children. They are just like their gangster fathers. Mayor Wagner said he is not responsible for police corruption. He is not responsible for these bad traffic conditions, these rundown tenements. According to him, he is not responsible for anything that happens in this city. By the way, brothers and sisters, when the mothers were protesting for a street light on West 131st Street, there were 100 cops armed, waiting to attack those little babies and the mothers who were demonstrating. That's the police who are out here to protect us. That shows you how this system is so interwoven, because you must understand, when they set up a state, they set up all the apparatus to protect and save that state. They set up the courts, they set up the police, they set up the army, they set up the educational system, they set up the newspapers, they set up all the apparatus to brainwash and keep you in subjugation. The people must be free, and we will not be fully free, until we smash this state completely and totally. We must destroy it and set up a new state of our own. Choosing into our own liking, go down to where it's green. And in the process of smashing the state, we're going to have to kill a lot of these cops, a lot of these judges, and we'll have to go up against their army. We'll organize our own militia and our own army. If we don't do it, brothers, we'll be kept in chains for another 200 or 300 years. All people in this world who are free got their freedom through struggle and through revolution. That's the only way to gain freedom. When Hitler came to power, he destroyed 6 million Jews. The same thing will happen to all of you black cops when these white fascists take over the government. That little tin badge that you have, that blue uniform that you have on, will show your red blood, because they'll turn on you just like they turn on your brothers and sisters on the street. This one on my right, this policeman on my right is in his plain clothes. To my left is a Puerto Rican policeman in plain clothes. I'm talking to him too. He's not safe. I'll tell him now, and I'll tell my black brother on my right, they had better choose their sides. Because when the deal goes down, when the deal is finished, he will have to go too, unless he chooses the right side. That's our side. Now, real quick, I'm not condoning violence, but I do want to point something out he said that was very, very powerful, and I want you to just hear me out. When he said we'll have to go up against their army, we'll organize our own militia and our own army. If we don't do it, brothers, we'll be kept in chains for another 200 or 300 years. All people in this world who are free got their freedom through struggle and through revolution. That's the only way to gain freedom. Is that not what white supremacists say? Is that not what they say? Do they not say, well, we won? Well, you should have fought harder. Well, that's how wars are fought when you bring up colonization. Oh, well, every country has been colonized. Like, that's how you gain power. When we left from the British evil rule and we came over here to start our own little democracy where no one was free but white men. Wasn't that the point? Wasn't that the point? That you have to fight? That it always takes a revolution? That in order to win and come out on top, somebody has to be on the bottom? Isn't that the talking point? But when a black man says it, he gets arrested for criminal anarchy and gets completely shut down. As a matter of fact, it was Mr. Epton's daughter who told me about that book and told me to read it. And I'm very glad that she did, because it's very hard to read. It's very rage invoking, and so I don't know how his family has been able to read it and not want to set the book on fire itself. But he's not saying anything that white people haven't fucking said for like centuries. But anytime a black man or a group of black people start talking about freedom and saying, well, you know what? It's clear you're not going to fucking give it to us, so we're going to end up having to take it. All of a sudden, like, oh my God, you're condoning violence and you're promoting all... Who the fuck are white people to judge anybody when it comes to violence or condoning violence? And they're not saying like, hey, you know what? We're going to have to be violent against the cops because we don't like the curfew or some dumb shit. They're like saying, like, we tired of being killed by the police, man. We're tired of our whole entire community being brutalized and locked up and targeted and oppressed and murdered. That's a good reason to fight back, right? Not like, hey, I really like this land, so I think I'm gonna murder everyone on it and take it for myself. There's a big fucking difference. There will be more to come from this book. Stay tuned.